Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
The fire that never sleeps is not always bright. Sometimes it is gentle, hidden beneath the surface, whispering in the smallest corners of existence. Energy does not rest, not in the stars above, not in the tiniest atom, not in the quiet rhythm of your own body. It moves like an ancient breath, drifting from form to form, a silent companion of all things. To speak of energy is to speak of motion, of warmth, of transformation. It is to notice that nothing is ever truly still, even when our eyes tell us otherwise. Imagine lying beneath the night sky. The stars are scattered like grains of silver dust, and each one is a furnace, a roaring ocean of fire. Yet even the calm starlight that touches your skin carries energy that began its journey millions of years ago. A single photon, born in the heart of a star, travels across vast emptiness to arrive at this moment with you. The fire that began in a distant sun becomes part of your body as warmth, as sight, as memory. Energy is not just in the stars, it has become part of the soft pulse of your own life. The story of energy begins long before stars or planets were born. In the first instant of the universe, energy surged outward in all directions, like the first exhale after a deep silence. That moment was not a creation of matter and energy separately, but a mingling of both. From that moment on, the universe has been a dance of transformations. Matter shifts into energy, and energy folds itself into matter. This law, described in the language of physics as E equals mc2, tells us that nothing is wasted, nothing disappears. The fire that once burned as light can rest inside the curve of an atom. The atom itself, when broken open, can return to fire. The cycle is endless like the tides. Think of your own breath. With every inhale, you draw in oxygen, a tiny spark of energy waiting to be released. With every exhale, you return carbon dioxide, carrying with it the memory of energy used by your cells. Each breath is an exchange, a reminder that the same power that fuels a star is present in the quiet movement of your lungs. The fire that never sleeps lives in you, not as a raging blaze, but as the patient glow that sustains your every heartbeat. Even in your sleep, when you drift in dreams, this fire remains awake, watching over you. Energy is not always violent, not always explosive. It can be delicate, flowing gently like a stream of water. In the leaves of a tree, sunlight is captured and transformed into sugar, into the sweetness that will become fruit. The fire of the sun becomes nourishment, and later it becomes the warmth of your blood. What began as distant starlight becomes a smile on your lips. This is the poetry of energy. It is never bound to one form, never trapped. It is always moving, always reshaping itself, always whispering, "I am still here." Now imagine the atoms in your body. Each one is restless, vibrating in quiet motion. Even when you sit perfectly still, billions of atoms are buzzing, trembling with invisible life. If you could listen closely enough, you would hear the hum of their activity, the low music of existence. Scientists call this kinetic energy the energy of motion. But beyond the definitions, it is simply the universe reminding you that stillness is only an illusion. Every cell in your body is alive with restless fire. The earth itself holds this secret. Beneath your feet, deep underground, molten rivers flow. Heat seeps upward from the planet's core, a fire born from the very birth of the world. Volcanoes are the dramatic expression of this energy, but even the soft warmth of soil beneath the sun carries the same story. The fire that never sleeps does not only roar in stars, it whispers in stone, in soil, in the warmth of a summer day. The quiet crackle of a campfire and the blazing fury of the sun are distant relatives, born from the same eternal law. Even light, that most familiar companion, is a form of energy. When sunlight strikes the ocean, it warms the water, lifts vapor into the air, and sets the cycle of rain into motion. When light touches your eyes, it triggers signals in your brain, shaping images and thoughts. The same photon that left a star's heart can become the spark of an idea in your mind. Energy has always been more than power, it is connection. It binds stars to oceans, oceans to clouds, clouds to your breath. The fire that never sleeps is not just movement, it is the thread that ties all things together. Consider also the memory of energy. The food you eat holds the sun's story, captured by plants long before it reached your table. The warmth of your body comes not only from what you eat, but from the echoes of ancient suns. The energy that flows through you is older than mountains, older than seas. It has moved through countless forms, carrying with it the timeless rhythm of change. Your heartbeat is a continuation of that ancient music, a gentle drum in the grand orchestra of the universe. There is wonder in knowing that energy cannot be destroyed, it only changes. The warmth of a flame becomes heat in the air, light in the darkness, ash on the ground. The energy of a falling stone becomes sound, vibration, and eventually stillness, but never nothing. In physics, this is called the law of conservation of energy. In poetry, it is the reminder that nothing ever truly ends. The fire that never sleeps does not vanish when the flame goes out. It simply moves on, finding a new home, a new form, a new rhythm. You can almost feel it when you close your eyes. The subtle warmth in your chest, the steady hum of your body, the faint awareness that something within you refuses to stop. That is energy, alive and patient. It does not tire, does not fade. Even when you rest, it continues its journey. Long after stars burn out and galaxies drift apart, energy will remain, whispering through the fabric of time. Let us drift deeper into this fire. The story is not only about power and transformation, but about intimacy. Every flicker of energy you feel is shared with the universe. When you move your hand, when you speak a word, when you smile at someone, you are passing on the fire. It leaves you, enters another, and the cycle continues. The fire that never sleeps is not a possession. It is a gift, a flow, a rhythm that we borrow for a while and then release again. And so, as you rest now, think of the fire as a companion. Not fierce, not consuming, but gentle, enduring. It has carried stars into being, given life to oceans, and now it sustains you. The fire that never sleeps will remain long after this moment, flowing into new shapes, new stories. For now, it is enough to feel it within you, quiet and eternal, the soft reminder that nothing ever truly stops. The fire that never sleeps is not only within stars and atoms, but also in the long patterns that weave across life and nature. If you look closely, you will see that energy is not just a physical force. It is a quiet storyteller, writing its presence into every leaf, every wave, every heartbeat. Where there is motion, there is energy. Where there is change, there is energy. Even in silence, even in stillness, energy hums beneath the surface, shaping the hidden music of the world. Let us drift into the forests, where sunlight pours through the green canopy. Each beam that touches a leaf is absorbed by molecules called chlorophyll. In that moment, energy from the sun is captured, transformed into a sugar that can feed the tree. Photosynthesis, the quiet miracle of life, is one of the most profound expressions of energy's patience. For billions of years, this process has linked the fire of the sun to the breath of the earth. Every fruit, every grain, every seed you have ever touched holds the memory of light turned into nourishment. The energy that began in a star becomes sweetness in an apple, strength in your muscles, warmth in your heart. This cycle does not end. It only deepens, reminding us that energy is the lifeblood of living things. Now consider the oceans. They appear calm at times, but they are always moving, always shifting. Waves rise and fall with the pull of the moon's gravity, and within each wave lies energy in motion. Tides sweep across the shores, carrying nutrients, stirring life, shaping coastlines. The sun warms the surface of the water, sending vapor into the sky, where clouds gather and rain falls back to the ground. It is a continuous cycle, powered by energy that never stops flowing. Even the whisper of a breeze across the sea is part of this vast transfer, linking air and water, warmth and movement, sky and earth. The fire that never sleeps does not burn here as flame, but as rhythm, as pulse, as the endless heartbeat of the planet. When you think of your own body, you may feel fragile, but within you flows a remarkable current of energy. Every nerve impulse that flickers across your brain is an electrical signal, a tiny flash of lightning inside your skull. Neurons pass their messages with delicate sparks, carrying thought, memory, and sensation. The brain alone consumes about 1/5 of the body's energy, even as you sleep. In those quiet hours of rest, the fire does not stop. It reorganizes memories, repairs tissues, maintains the hidden systems that keep you alive. Sleep is not the absence of energy, it is its rebalancing. You can almost imagine energy as a careful gardener, tending the soil of your mind each night so that thoughts may bloom again in the morning. Energy also reveals itself in the vast scale of the cosmos. Galaxies spin with unimaginable momentum. Stars are born in clouds of dust and gas, ignited by gravity's pull. Black holes consume matter and release jets of radiation that pierce across millions of light years. Even in the apparent emptiness of space, particles shimmer with a subtle energy called the quantum field. Physicists describe this as zero-point energy, the baseline hum of the universe, suggesting that when the void is truly empty, the fire that never sleeps resides even in silence, even in the darkness between stars. It is as if the universe itself refuses to stand still. In your daily life, you touch this truth without always noticing. The food you eat, the air you breathe, the movements you make, all are part of an unbroken chain of energy transformation. When you lift a cup of water, chemical energy from your muscles is converted into motion. When you take a sip, the liquid carries potential energy that will soon become part of your blood, your thoughts, your laughter. When you speak, the vibration of your vocal cords sends waves of energy through the air, and someone else receives them as sound, as meaning, as connection. Energy is not abstract, it is intimate, woven into every small act of living. Let us look at fire itself, the ancient companion of humanity. When our ancestors first kindled flame, they did more than create light and warmth. They tapped into the universal law of transformation. The wood, once a tree, had captured sunlight for years, storing energy in its fibers. When burned, that stored energy was released as heat and light, returning to the air as carbon dioxide, continuing the cycle. Fire was never destruction, it was exchange. It taught us that energy cannot be held forever. It must move, must change, must flow. Around the glow of ancient flames, humans learned the poetry of energy's persistence. Even time itself can be felt as a measure of energy. The ticking of a clock, the swing of a pendulum, the beating of a heart, all depend on motion, on change, on the steady release and transfer of energy. Time is not separate from energy. It is the rhythm by which we sense its passage. The slow erosion of mountains, the bloom of flowers in spring, the aging of the body, all are marks left by the fire that never sleeps. It is not only a scientific truth, but also a gentle reminder that life is never static. It flows like a river, always carrying us forward. Consider the wind, invisible, untouchable, yet full of power. It shapes landscapes, turns turbines, carries seeds across continents. The air that brushes your skin has traveled from faraway places, carrying with it the warmth of deserts or the chill of glaciers. Each gust is a messenger of energy in motion, reminding you that even the unseen carries weight and influence. The wind is a soft hand of the fire that never sleeps, moving without rest, without end. There is also a deep mystery in energy's memory. The warmth you feel from the sun today began in its core thousands of years ago, as photons struggled to escape through dense layers of gas. By the time they reach you, they carry not only light but also history. Every beam of sunlight is an ancient traveler, whispering of the star it came from, and when it touches your skin, it does not vanish. It warms you, fuels the chemistry of life, and then continues its journey outward, into air, into earth, into the flow of time. In this way, energy is not only persistent, but also deeply connected to memory. It carries stories across space and years, weaving them into the fabric of existence. The fire that never sleeps is also a teacher of humility. It shows us that we are not separate from the universe, but participants in its eternal flow. The energy that fuels your body once burned in stars, once flowed in oceans, once moved through countless other forms of life. You are not an isolated flame, you are part of a vast fire, a shared current that passes through all things. This perspective is both scientific and poetic. It allows us to see that the universe is not a collection of disconnected parts, but a single, breathing whole, alive with the same unending fire. As we move deeper into this story, it becomes clear that energy is not only about survival or power. It is about continuity, about connection. It is the reason nothing ever truly ends, why even in death there is transformation. The body returns to the earth, nutrients feed the soil, plants grow, and the cycle renews itself. Energy does not mourn, it moves forward, carrying fragments of what was into what will be. This quiet truth is both comforting and profound. It assures us that nothing is wasted, that even endings are beginnings in disguise. And so when you close your eyes and feel the gentle hum within you, remember that you are part of something vast and eternal. The fire that never sleeps is not only outside in the stars, in the oceans, in the winds. It is within you, breathing with you, moving with you. Every thought, every sigh, every heartbeat is an expression of that same endless fire. You are its vessel for a time, its song for a while. And even when your song fades, the fire will continue, whispering in new voices, glowing in new forms. The fire that never sleeps does not stop. It only changes, and through change, it remains forever. The fire that never sleeps is not a blaze that consumes. It is a rhythm that continue. Used to bring the story of this eternal fire toward a gentle close, let us reflect on the way energy moves through endings and beginnings, carrying with it the quiet assurance that nothing is ever truly lost. If you follow its trail, you discover that every goodbye in nature is only a transformation. Every fading moment is only an opening into something new. This is the poetry of energy. It gives without depletion, it flows without exhaustion, it survives without rest. Imagine the life of a tree. For decades it gathers sunlight, rain, and minerals, storing energy in its branches and trunk. Eventually the tree falls and it may seem like an ending, but within its wood the energy waits. In time that energy is released as nourishment for fungi, as food for insects, as fuel for fire. What once seemed still and lifeless becomes a chorus of motion once more. The fire that never sleeps does not mourn the fall of the tree. Instead, it moves forward, whispering into new forms, carrying the memory of sunlight into fresh beginnings. The cycle is gentle, unhurried, unending. This same truth reveals itself in the stars. When a star runs out of fuel, its bright light begins to fade, but even then its energy does not vanish. Some stars collapse into brilliant supernovae, scattering heavy elements into space: iron, carbon, oxygen, the very ingredients of life. Those scattered fragments, infused with energy, later gather into new stars, new planets, new bodies. In this way, the fire of one star becomes the breath of another, the sparkle in an ocean, the pulse of a living being. The fire that never sleeps ensures that even the death of a star is not final, but a passage, a transformation into the next story. Energy does not simply power life, it shapes identity. When you think, when you feel, when you dream, those experiences are energy passing through the circuits of your brain. The warmth in your chest when you remember something beautiful, the calm in your body as you listen to soft rain, these are not static states but living movements of energy. They remind us that our very sense of being is a process, a flow. You are not a fixed object, you are an unfolding current. To exist is to be in motion, to be part of the fire that never sleeps. This truth is reflected in time itself. We often imagine time as a straight line, carrying us from past to future. But if you look closely, you see that time is not separate from energy. It is measured by change, by motion, by transformation. A pendulum swings only because of the energy stored within it. A clock ticks only because springs or batteries release energy in steady rhythm. Your own experience of time, the beating of your heart, the rise and fall of your breath, is guided by energy's flow. Without energy, time would have no voice. The fire that never sleeps is also the hand that moves the clock of the universe. When we think of rest, we often imagine stillness, silence, an end to activity. But even in the deepest rest, energy moves quietly. The earth spins, stars burn, your heart beats. Even as you sleep, your body is alive with currents of electricity and warmth. Rest is not the absence of energy, it is the gentle rearrangement of it. The fire that never sleeps does not pause even when you do. It continues patiently, softly, carrying you forward through each breath, each dream, each dawn. Let us return once more to the image of light. A single beam of sunlight enters a window, falling across a table, warming the wood. That warmth is energy moving into the air, into your skin, into your thoughts. You carry it with you as you go about your day. Later, when you speak to someone with kindness, when you share warmth through a smile, you are passing along that energy, reshaped, softened, humanized. The fire that never sleeps does not remain locked in the stars. It flows into gestures, into words, into the quiet acts of love and care that ripple through the world. In this way, energy is not only physical but also deeply emotional. It becomes the invisible bridge between beings. The oceans remind us of continuity as well. A wave rises and falls, seeming to vanish as it meets the shore. But in truth, the energy of the wave does not end. It disperses into sound, into foam, into sand, shifted by the water's touch. The next wave follows, then another and another. Each carries the same rhythm, the same endless movement. Watching waves, you can almost hear the whisper of energy saying, "I will not stop, I will not fade, I am always becoming." The fire that never sleeps is alive in every crest and trough, in every echo of the sea. It is comforting to know that even when we release energy, it continues its journey. The warmth of a candle's flame may fade, but its heat lingers in the air, its light travels outward, and its smoke carries molecules into the atmosphere. When you speak a word, the vibrations ripple outward, blending with other sounds, never truly lost. When you breathe, your exhalation carries warmth and carbon dioxide into the world, where it feeds plants, which grow and give back oxygen for another breath. Every act, no matter how small, participates in this endless flow. Nothing stops, everything continues in a hidden rhythm. In the language of science, this is the conservation of energy. In the language of poetry, it is the promise that life's flame never goes out. The fire that never sleeps is not bound by endings, not silenced by distance, not diminished by time. It endures, it transforms, it renews. This truth is more than a law of physics. It is a gentle reassurance that we are never truly apart from the universe's eternal song. When we are gone, the energy that was us will remain, scattered into countless forms, still alive in the great unfolding. And so we arrive at a quiet understanding. To live is to be part of a fire that does not rest. To die is to release that fire into new forms. To love, to breathe, to dream is to feel the warmth of that fire within us. It is not a burden, not a weight, but a gift, an eternal companion moving through us, around us, beyond us. The fire that never sleeps does not belong to anyone, yet it belongs to everyone. It is the heartbeat of the cosmos, the pulse of the earth, the whisper in our veins. It will remain long after stars fade and galaxies dissolve, still flowing, still breathing, still alive. Close your eyes and listen. Beneath the quiet of your body, beneath the silence of the room, there is a hum, a soft vibration, a gentle current. That is the fire that never sleeps. It is not loud, not urgent, not restless. It is patient, infinite, and kind. It is the reason nothing ever stops, the reason every ending is also a beginning, the reason life itself is possible. The fire that never sleeps is here, now within you and beyond you, a reminder that you are part of something eternal. And in that eternal fire there is peace. The dance of atoms is a performance that has never paused since the universe was born. To the eye, a stone may seem solid, unmoving, eternal in its stillness. But if you could look closer, if you could see beyond the veil of ordinary sight, you would witness a restless world of particles, vibrating, colliding, spinning without rest. Atoms, the small architects of all matter, do not sit quietly. They are alive with motion, and it is this motion that gives shape to everything you know. Nothing is truly still, not even you, because within your every breath and every cell, the dance of atoms continues endlessly. Imagine holding a single drop of water in the palm of your hand. It appears simple, clear, and still. Yet within that tiny droplet are trillions upon trillions of molecules, each one composed of atoms. These atoms are bonded together in a fragile embrace, but even in their union they are in constant vibration. The hydrogen atoms tremble with energy, while the oxygen atom resonates with its own rhythm. The molecules sway and spin, bouncing off one another, shifting between order and chaos. That single drop of water is a miniature universe of endless motion. What looks like calmness is, in truth, a hidden storm of activity. Let us drift even deeper. Atoms themselves are not quiet spheres, but intricate systems of smaller particles. At the center lies the nucleus, heavy with protons and neutrons, while electrons whirl around it like tiny planets around a star. Yet this is not a rigid orbit. Electrons exist in clouds, shimmering probabilities, both here and there, everywhere and nowhere. They dance in patterns that can never be fully predicted, moving with a freedom that defies certainty. In this dance, there is both mystery and order, both chaos and symmetry. It is a performance written into the very laws of physics, one that continues whether we notice or not. The dance of atoms is not only a scientific truth, it is a poetic reminder that life is never motionless. The table before you, the air you breathe, the ground beneath your feet, all of it is alive with vibration. Even when frozen, atoms vibrate gently in their places, humming with the faint rhythm of thermal energy. Absolute stillness, absolute zero, is an idea that nature does not allow. There is always some hum, some flicker, some residue of motion. This is the quiet assurance that the universe itself is never asleep. It breathes through the restless tremble of its smallest pieces. Consider heat, that familiar companion of daily life. When you warm your hands by a fire, you are feeling the quickened dance of atoms. Heat is not a substance but a movement, the faster vibrations of particles brushing against your skin. In cold, the dance slows, but it never ceases. Even in ice, atoms quiver faintly, refusing to rest completely. Warmth and cold are not opposites but different tempos of the same eternal dance. The fire in your hearth and the frost on your window are both expressions of motion, both woven from the same restless steps of atoms. The air around you is another stage for this performance. Though it seems invisible and weightless, it is a sea of molecules in perpetual flight. Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, all of them collide and rebound countless times each second. When a breeze brushes your cheek, it is not a smooth flow but an orchestra of atoms, tumbling and rushing, transferring energy from one to another. Sound itself is the vibration of atoms, moving in waves that carry voices and music across space. Every note of a song, every whisper, every heartbeat echoing in your chest is made possible by this invisible choreography. The dance of atoms is the silent partner of every sound you have ever heard. Now imagine the human body, so familiar yet so mysterious. It is a cathedral of atoms, trillions upon trillions of them working together in perfect synchrony. The atoms in your muscles stretch and contract as you move, transferring energy from one bond to another. The atoms in your blood cling to oxygen, carrying it to your cells. Even your thoughts are electric dances of atoms, electrons surging across neurons in delicate patterns. You are not a fixed being but a river of motion, a collection of atoms that never stop shifting, rearranging, flowing. The dance of atoms is not just around you, it is you. The earth itself hums with this restless rhythm. In rocks, in soil, in mountains, atoms vibrate in crystalline patterns. The firmness of stone is not a lack of movement but a balance of forces, a stability born from ceaseless internal activity. Deep within the planet, atoms are pushed to extremes of pressure and heat, colliding in molten waves that drive the movement of continents. Earthquakes, volcanoes, the slow rise of mountains, all are vast expressions of atomic motion on a planetary scale. The ground may seem steady beneath your feet, but it too is alive, trembling with energy that began billions of years ago. Light also reveals the dance of atoms in ways both subtle and dazzling. When sunlight strikes a leaf, atoms in the chlorophyll absorb the energy, their electrons leaping to higher states before releasing the energy again. This exchange powers the miracle of photosynthesis, turning light into life. The green of the leaf, the colors of flowers, the glow of fireflies, all are born from the ways atoms interact with light. Even the colors you see in the world are the footprints of atomic dances, specific rhythms of absorption and reflection, unique signatures written into matter itself. The dance is not random chaos but guided by rules, patterns written into the universe. Quantum mechanics describes these patterns in strange, beautiful terms: superposition, uncertainty, entanglement. Atoms can be connected across distances, sharing a single state as if they were partners in a dance too subtle for the eye to see. The uncertainty of their position is not disorder but possibility, the freedom of the dance to take countless shapes. To study atoms is to glimpse a performance that is at once mysterious and precise, playful and exact, fragile and eternal. Yet you do not need to be a scientist to feel the truth of this dance. It reveals itself in warmth on your skin, in the sound of a voice, in the colors of a sunset. It is present in every sip of water, every breath of air, every step you take. The dance of atoms is both invisible and intimate, always around you, always within you. It is the reason nothing is still, the reason the universe itself cannot stop moving. To live is to be part of this dance, to join the rhythm that began at the dawn of time and continues without end. And so as we settle into this story, let us remember that what seems solid and still is only an illusion. Beneath the surface, atoms are alive, swaying in their endless rhythm. The stone, the air, the body, the earth, all are participants in a cosmic dance that never rests. The fire that never sleeps has found another form here, another expression in the quiet, tireless movement of atoms. To see the world in this way is to understand that nothing is fixed, nothing is motionless. Everything is alive, everything is moving, everything is part of the eternal dance. The dance of atoms deepens when we consider how their movements shape the very fabric of existence. Atoms are not only the smallest units of matter, they are also carriers of energy, constantly exchanging, vibrating, colliding, and sharing. In their endless rhythm lies the foundation of all forms, all sensations, all patterns of life and matter. The still world we see around us is only an illusion painted upon the surface of ceaseless atomic motion. To look closely is to understand that existence is woven from motion, from the soft hum of restless particles. Take, for instance, the simple act of touch. When your hand rests upon the surface of a table, you feel resistance, as if something solid is holding you back. Yet the atoms in your hand never actually meet the atoms in the wood. Instead, electrons repel one another with invisible forces, creating the sensation of solidity. What you feel as hardness is the push of countless atomic interactions, a field of energy that holds matter apart while binding it together. Solidity is not contact but balance, a graceful negotiation between vibrating clouds of particles. The firmness of the world is born from the dance of atoms, not from stillness. Now let us drift into the world of temperature. Every sensation of warmth or chill is a measure of atomic motion. When atoms move quickly, their vibrations grow intense and we feel heat. When their motion slows, we feel cold. Even in freezing ice, the atoms tremble faintly, refusing to surrender to complete stillness. The concept of absolute zero, the temperature at which atomic motion would cease entirely, remains unreachable in practice. No matter how much we cool a substance, some flicker of energy remains, some whisper of motion that cannot be silenced. This is the universe's way of saying, nothing can truly stop. The dance of atoms never ends, even in the coldest depths of space. Consider sound, that gentle companion of daily life. When you hear a bird singing or the murmur of rain, what you are truly perceiving is atoms in motion. Vibrations pass through air molecules, each one colliding with the next, transferring energy in waves until they reach your ear. Inside your ear, tiny atoms in delicate structures vibrate in response, carrying the pattern into your brain. Every sound you have ever known, the laughter of a friend, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the rustle of leaves in the wind, is the result of atomic motion. The world's music is born from the ceaseless exchange of energy between particles, a dance so constant that silence itself is never complete. The dance also reveals itself in light, in the shimmering play of photons interacting with matter. When light strikes an object, its energy can excite the electrons of atoms, pushing them into higher states before they fall back, releasing light of specific colors. This is why a rose appears red, why the ocean glows blue, why the sky shifts from gold to violet at sunset. Color is not a static property, but the outcome of atomic motion, a spectrum of possibilities painted by interactions of light and matter. Each hue in the world is a step in the atomic dance, a brief and beautiful expression of energy at play. Atoms also move in ways too small for us to see but essential for life. In your body, atoms shift and rearrange constantly as molecules form and break apart. Proteins fold into intricate shapes, driven by the subtle pushes and pulls of atomic forces. Enzymes guide chemical reactions, allowing food to become energy, energy to become motion, motion to become thought. Within each cell, atoms travel like dancers across a stage, building and rebuilding the delicate machinery that sustains you. You are not a fixed being, but a flowing current of atomic exchanges. Each second, countless atoms leave your body through breath and skin, while countless others enter through air and food. Your very identity is a river of atoms, never still, never the same, always in motion. The universe itself is a vast ballroom of atomic dances. Stars burn by fusing atoms together, releasing immense energy that radiates across space. In the core of the sun, hydrogen atoms press and collide until they become helium, their dance releasing light and warmth that nourishes life on Earth. Far away in dying stars, heavier atoms are forged, iron, gold, carbon, scattered into the cosmos in brilliant explosions. The very atoms in your body, the carbon in your breath, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, were born in those ancient dances of stars. You are a living archive of atomic rhythm, carrying within you the history of the cosmos. On Earth, the dance of atoms reveals itself in cycles of energy that sustain ecosystems. Plants capture sunlight, turning atomic vibrations into sugars. Animals eat the plants, breaking down those molecules to fuel motion and warmth. Predators hunt prey, transferring energy again. At each step, atoms are rearranged, their bonds broken and reformed, their energy flowing from one form to another. Death is not an end, but a transformation, as the atoms of one body become soil, air, and nourishment for others. The cycle of life is the cycle of atomic dance, a reminder that nothing stands still and nothing is wasted. Even time can be felt in the vibration of atoms. Modern clocks use the oscillation of cesium atoms to measure seconds with astonishing precision. These tiny vibrations are so reliable that they define our concept of time itself. In this way, the dance of atoms becomes not just a background to life, but the very heartbeat of time. Every tick of a clock, every passing moment, is tied to the rhythm of particles that refuse to stop moving. Without atoms dancing, there would be no measure of change, no unfolding of past into future. It is humbling to realize that stillness does not exist in nature. A mountain may appear unmoving, but within its minerals, atoms shift and vibrate. A sleeping body may appear still, but its cells bustle with chemical reactions. Even in the dark vacuum of space, particles shimmer with quantum motion, never completely at rest. The illusion of stillness is only a scale of perspective. If your eyes could see into the very small, you would never again believe in silence or stillness. You would know that existence itself is restless, forever alive with motion. This endless movement is not chaotic but harmonious, guided by laws of physics that give order to the dance. Atoms do not wander aimlessly. They follow the patterns of force, charge, and probability. The beauty lies in the balance, between attraction and repulsion, between order and freedom, between predictability and surprise. The dance of atoms is both structured and mysterious, like a song whose melody you recognize but whose variations are always new. It is at once comforting and astonishing, familiar and infinite. And so as we continue to listen to this story, we see that atoms are not silent servants of matter but active participants in existence. They do not wait to be noticed. They move regardless, their rhythms shaping the world whether we are aware of them or not. The breath you take, the warmth you feel, the colors you see, all depend on their tireless performance. To know this is to feel a deeper connection to the universe, a sense that nothing is truly separate or still. Everything is part of the same dance, the same restless flow that began with the birth of time. In the quiet hum of atoms there is a message, Life is not about stillness but about motion. To exist is to move, to change, to flow. Even when you rest, your atoms are awake. Even when you stop, the dance continues within you and around you. The universe does not pause, and neither do you. You are part of its rhythm, a verse in its endless song, a step in its eternal dance. The dance of atoms carries us toward a gentle realization that life, matter, and even memory are bound to a rhythm that never ends. If you look at your own hand, you see skin and shape, the outline of something familiar. Yet beneath that outline, countless atoms are vibrating, exchanging energy and shifting places. Some of them were once in the air, drifting as carbon dioxide. Others were once part of the soil, lifted into a plant that became food. Some of them long ago were forged in the heart of a distant star. Now they are here, woven into you only for a time. The dance of atoms ensures that one day they will move on, becoming part of new forms, new beings, new songs. You are not only yourself, you are also a gathering place for atoms in motion, a brief but beautiful arrangement in the endless performance. The story of atoms is the story of impermanence. Nothing that exists is fixed. Atoms join together to form molecules, molecules combine to form cells, and cells join to form bodies. But none of these unions are permanent. Atoms break apart, reassemble, move into new patterns. The body you inhabit today is not the same one you carried years ago. Most of the atoms have already left, replaced by others from food, air, and water. Identity is not a static possession, but a flowing river. You are a continuous becoming, not a fixed being. The dance of atoms makes sure of this, reminding us that change is not an interruption of life, but its very essence. When we think of endings, we often feel sadness, as if something has been lost. Yet in the language of atoms, there are no endings, only transformations. A fallen leaf decays, but its atoms nourish the soil, feeding roots and seeds. A flame fades, but its atoms drift upward as smoke, as warmth, as memory in the air. Even the body at the end of its life does not vanish, but returns its atoms to earth, to air, to the cycles of life. Energy and matter do not disappear. They change partners in the dance. This is not destruction but continuity, not loss but renewal. The dance of atoms ensures that nothing is wasted. Even memory is tied to this restless rhythm. In the brain, atoms move to create electric impulses, chemical signals, and shifting connections. When you recall a moment from your past, atoms are rearranging in your neurons, forming patterns that represent thought. Those patterns are not permanent. They shift each time you remember, growing stronger or fading away. In this way, memory itself is a living dance, always changing, never fixed. The story of who you are is written in motion, not stillness. The atoms in your brain whisper their patterns, carrying your identity for a while, then changing again, making room for new thoughts, new experiences, new dreams. The universe itself teaches us this truth. Galaxies spin with atomic and stellar dances on scales so vast they defy comprehension. Stars are born, live, and die, scattering atoms into new formations. Planets form from dust and gas, then shift and evolve under the ceaseless pressure of atomic motion. The Milky Way itself is moving, a vast river of stars flowing through space. On every scale, from the smallest electron to the largest galaxy, nothing rests. The dance continues. It has always continued from the first instant of time until now, and it will continue long after we are gone. One of the most mysterious aspects of atomic motion is entanglement, a phenomenon where atoms or their particles become linked across distance. Change one, and the other responds, no matter how far apart they are. It is as if the dance of atoms is not limited by space, as if some rhythms echo across distances beyond imagination. Scientists study this mystery with careful tools, but even stripped of theory, it carries a poetic truth, that atoms remember their partners, that connections do not fade, that distance is not separation. In the language of the dance, we are reminded that all things are more connected than they appear. The body you live in is itself a community of dances. Every heartbeat is the movement of atoms arranged into muscle fibers contracting in rhythm. Every breath is the flow of atoms entering and leaving, oxygen binding to hemoglobin, carbon dioxide released into the air. Every step you take is the push of atoms in bones, the slide of atoms in joints, the surge of atoms in muscle tissue. Even your thoughts, those delicate whispers in the mind, are waves of atoms in constant exchange. To live is to dance with them, to be carried by their rhythms, to feel their restlessness as your own pulse. When you close your eyes, the world may feel still, but the dance continues. In the silence of a dark room, atoms vibrate in the walls, in the air, in the fibers of your clothing. Heat moves from your body into the air. Light from distant stars filters through the atmosphere. Electrons shift within the circuits of the devices around you. Even in quiet, even in stillness, the atomic rhythm continues without pause. The hum of existence is unbroken, a lullaby of motion that has been playing since the beginning of time. It is this hum that cradles you, this hum that connects you to everything else. In the cycles of nature, the dance of atoms finds endless expression. Rain falls, carrying atoms from the sky to the soil. Plants drink it in, turning water and sunlight into sugar. Animals eat the plants, breaking molecules apart and forming new ones. Predators eat prey, energy and atoms moving forward again. Death returns atoms to earth and life rises again. Every cycle is a performance of atoms, joining and separating, forming and dissolving, always in motion, never in rest. The world itself is a choreography, and every creature, every stone, every breeze is a step in its unending rhythm. The most humbling truth of the atomic dance is that it does not belong to us. We borrow it for a while, becoming shapes and forms for a brief time, but the atoms were here long before us and will remain long after. The atoms that form your body once belonged to other beings, other lives. Some may have been in the breath of ancient creatures, some in the water of vanished rivers, some in the fire of forgotten stars. After you are gone, those atoms will move on, dancing in new forms, carrying fragments of your existence into futures you cannot see. In this way, immortality is not personal but shared, not fixed but flowing. The dance of atoms ensures that everything continues, even as forms change. And so the story of atoms is not only science but also comfort. It reminds us that nothing is ever lost, nothing is ever truly gone. The table, the tree, the body, the star, each is only a chapter in a larger story, a moment in the dance. When you look at the world with this understanding, even endings feel softer, even silence feels alive. The atoms whisper their truth. That stillness is an illusion, that change is eternal, that existence itself is motion without end. To rest in this knowledge is to feel a deep peace. You are part of the dance, woven into it, inseparable from it. The atoms that shape you are restless and free, and in their freedom lies the eternity of the universe. When you breathe, when you think, when you sleep, their rhythm continues. You are not outside of the dance, you are the dance itself. The motion of atoms is the motion of you, and through you the motion of the universe. The dance does not end, it only flows onward into forms and shapes beyond imagining. To know this is to feel at home in the endless rhythm, to rest in the truth that nothing ever truly stops. Light is one of the oldest companions of life, a thread that stitches together the fabric of the universe. From the very first moment of creation, light streamed outward, filling the silence with radiance. Even now, billions of years later, it continues to travel, carrying with it the memory of stars, the warmth of suns, and the quiet promise of tomorrow. To think about light is to think about connection, because every photon that brushes your skin began its journey long before you were here, and yet somehow it arrives exactly now, in this moment, to remind you that nothing is ever separate. Imagine waking in the early morning. The sky is pale with dawn, and the first beams of sunlight slip across the horizon. Those beams began in the heart of the sun, where atoms collided with such intensity that hydrogen fused into helium, releasing light as a byproduct of that cosmic fire. For thousands of years, those photons struggled through dense layers of plasma before finally breaking free, streaming across space at incredible speed. They crossed 93 million miles to reach the Earth, and now they rest softly on your skin, warming you with a fire older than your memory. The threads of light weave you into the same fabric as the stars. Light is not only brightness, it is energy, motion, and information. Every color you see is a different wavelength, a different vibration of the electromagnetic spectrum. Red waves stretch long and slow, while blue waves ripple quickly and tightly. Together, they form the palette of the world. The green of leaves, the blue of oceans, the gold of autumn fields, all are expressions of light interacting with matter. Without light, the universe would be invisible, silent, and still. With it, every surface glows with possibility. Every corner of the cosmos hums with radiance. The threads of light are not only what we see, but also what allows us to see. Plants understood this long before we did. Through photosynthesis, leaves capture photons and convert their energy into sugar, storing the fire of the sun in living tissue. That sugar feeds animals, and eventually it becomes the warmth in your muscles, the spark in your thoughts, the beating of your heart. The threads of light move through you each time you breathe, eat, or move. You are not separate from light. You are shaped by it, fueled by it, sustained by it. To live is to be illuminated from within, to be a continuation of light's eternal journey. Light also tells stories of distance and time. When you look at the night sky, you are not seeing stars as they are now, but as they once were. Some of the light began its journey thousands of years ago, long before your ancestors walked the earth. Each twinkle is a memory carried across the vast emptiness of space, a message arriving late but still intact. Some stars you see may have already died, their fire extinguished, yet their light still travels, still arrives, still whispers of their existence. To gaze into the night sky is to gaze into history, to hold in your eyes the echoes of distant suns. The threads of light are also threads of memory, tying us to a past we cannot touch but can still witness. The ocean carries its own story of light. Sunlight penetrates the surface, scattering and softening as it goes deeper. In shallow waters, colors glow brightly, but as you descend, they fade one by one. Red disappears first, then orange, then yellow, until only blue remains. Beyond a certain depth, darkness takes over, and yet even there, light finds a way. Creatures of the deep make their own radiance, glowing with bioluminescence in patterns both beautiful and mysterious. Some use it to attract mates, others to ward off predators, still others to lure prey. The ocean becomes a gallery of living lanterns, each creature weaving its own thread of light into the darkness. In your own body, light plays a role you may not always notice. When photons touch your skin, they trigger chemical reactions that allow you to produce vitamin D, a nutrient essential for health. When they enter your eyes, they activate tiny cells in the retina, sending signals to your brain that form images, colors, and movement. Without light, vision would not exist. Even your sense of time is guided by light, as the rising and setting of the sun regulates your internal rhythms, telling your body when to wake, when to sleep, when to dream. The threads of light are woven not just through the sky and the stars, but through your very biology. Let us drift into the realm of color once more. Consider the rainbow, that soft arc painted across the sky after rain. It is formed when light bends and scatters through droplets of water, separating into its component wavelengths. Each color emerges not because it was created anew, but because it was always there, hidden within the white light of the sun. Rainbows remind us that the world is full of hidden layers, that beauty often lies in the unseen until conditions reveal it. The threads of light carry within them infinite possibilities, waiting for the right moment to unfold. Beyond the visible lies the invisible, forms of light our eyes cannot see. Infrared carries warmth, felt as heat on your skin. Ultraviolet can burn, but it also enables life by helping plants grow and guiding animals on their journeys. Radio. Waves, microwaves, X-rays, all are forms of light, each with its own rhythm, its own message. We build instruments to capture these unseen wavelengths, expanding our senses, allowing us to listen to the universe in ways beyond our natural sight. In doing so, we discover that the threads of light weave not only through the visible world, but through every corner of reality, binding together things we could never have imagined. The speed of light is another mystery. It is the fastest thing in the universe, moving at nearly 300,000 kilometers per second. Nothing outruns it, nothing surpasses it. Yet even at that speed, light takes time to travel across vast distances. From the moon, it takes just over a second to reach us. From the sun, it takes 8 minutes. From the nearest star beyond the sun, it takes 4 years, and from the farthest galaxies, it can take billions of years. Every photon is a traveler, patient and tireless, weaving threads across unimaginable expanses. To witness light is to witness both speed and patience, both immediacy and eternity. In art and culture, light has always been a symbol of knowledge, hope, and life. We speak of enlightenment as a moment of clarity, of truth revealed. We light candles to remember, to celebrate, to pray. We seek light in times of darkness, both literal and metaphorical, as if instinctively knowing that light connects us to something greater. These metaphors are not accidents. They arise because light is deeply tied to our existence. It nourishes us, guides us, and gives shape to our perception of reality. The threads of light are not only physical, they are emotional, spiritual, symbolic. And so, as we begin to trace this story, we find that light is everywhere, within us and beyond us. It is the color in the sky, the warmth on our skin, the memory in the stars, the rhythm in our days. It is both wave and particle, both ancient and new, both visible and invisible. Light is a messenger, a bridge, a thread that ties together moments, beings, and worlds. To follow its path is to follow the story of the universe itself. The threads of light whisper softly, reminding us that nothing is truly dark, nothing is truly alone. Wherever there is light, there is connection, and wherever there is connection, there is life. The threads of light are not only a source of beauty, but also the architects of life and knowledge. They reveal themselves in ways so ordinary that we sometimes forget their wonder. To open your eyes in the morning is to welcome light into your body. To see the green of a leaf, the face of someone you love, the horizon of a mountain is to weave light into your mind. Without light, there would be no vision, no color, no pattern. The world would exist, but it would remain unseen, unshaped in our awareness. Light does not just allow us to perceive the universe, it stitches our perception itself into being. Think of the journey of a single photon born in the heart of the sun. It may take thousands of years to leave the star's dense core, moving slowly, pushed and pulled by countless collisions. Once free, it travels across the emptiness of space in just minutes, racing toward Earth at the speed of light. It enters the atmosphere, scatters among molecules of air, softens into blue, bends around dust and clouds, and finally lands upon your hand. That warmth you feel is not abstract. It is the touch of a traveler who began long before you were born, who crossed the void simply to remind you that you are connected to the stars. Every photon is a messenger, carrying the memory of fire across the universe. The story of light deepens in the way it guides time. Long before clocks and calendars, humans measured life by the rising and setting of the sun, by the cycle of shadows, by the glow of the moon. Light is the original timekeeper. It tells plants when to open their leaves and when to close them. It tells birds when to migrate. It tells humans when to rest and when to awaken. Deep within your brain lies the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a small cluster of neurons that receives signals from your eyes about light and darkness. This tiny region keeps your circadian rhythm in balance, aligning your body's internal clock with the day. Without light, your sense of time would drift, your body uncertain of when to dream and when to act. The threads of light are not only what you see, they are what keep you in harmony with the passage of life. Light also carries memory in more delicate ways. Consider the photographs we hold in albums or on screens. Each one is a moment captured in light, preserved by the way photons once bounced off faces and landscapes. When we look at a picture, we are not only seeing an image, we are touching the light of another time, another place frozen and preserved. The same is true when we gaze into the night sky. The stars shine not as they are, but as they were, their light carrying stories across thousands of years. To look into the sky is to remember to witness ancient fires still speaking in the language of light. These threads stretch through time, weaving memory into the fabric of the present. The natural world is filled with subtle expressions of light. In the forest, sunlight filters through leaves, scattering into patterns of brightness and shadow upon the ground. In winter, snow crystals catch light and scatter it in dazzling sparkles, each flake a prism of wonder. On the ocean, waves reflect the sun in shimmering fragments, turning the surface into liquid fire. Even in the smallest drop of dew, light bends and refracts, revealing rainbows hidden in plain sight. These are not accidents, but reminders that light is playful, generous, and infinite in its creativity. It takes every form of matter as a canvas, painting endlessly upon the world. But light is not only gentle, it can also be powerful, shaping the earth itself. The warmth of the sun drives winds, lifts water into clouds, and powers the cycle of rain. It fuels storms, feeds forests, and maintains the delicate balance of climates. Too much light can scorch fields, dry rivers, and bleach soil. Too little, and the world drifts into ice and shadow. Life depends on this fragile balance, this precise weaving of light into warmth, growth, and renewal. The threads of light are both tender and commanding, shaping the fate of ecosystems, guiding the course of seasons, and sustaining the miracle of balance. Even within the human spirit, light has become a symbol of clarity and hope. When we speak of insight, we say that something has come to light. When we overcome struggle, we say we have found the light at the end of the tunnel. In times of grief, we light candles. In times of joy, we light lanterns, fireworks, and lamps. Across cultures, light is the language of guidance, memory, and unity. These metaphors are not distant from reality. They are born from the truth that light sustains life itself. To live is to walk in its threads, to trust in its constancy, to follow its rhythm. The mysteries of light stretch even deeper into the smallest scales of physics. Light is both a wave and a particle, both rhythm and spark. It moves like ripples across a pond, yet it also arrives as single photons, discrete packets of energy. Scientists have long studied this paradox, calling it wave-particle duality. To us, it feels poetic. Light is not bound to one identity, but flows freely between states, adapting, shifting, revealing the universe's refusal to be limited. Perhaps this is why light resonates so deeply in human imagination, because it reflects our own nature as beings who are both matter and motion, both temporary and eternal. In plants, light becomes more than sustenance, it becomes wisdom. Through a process called photoperiodism, plants read the length of day and night, adjusting their growth and flowering to the season. Sunflowers follow the sun across the sky, turning their faces to its path. Trees shed leaves in autumn as light diminishes, preparing for the long night of winter. Every blade of grass, every field of grain, every forest breathes with the rhythm of light, responding to its rise and fall. To see a meadow swaying in sunlight is to see light made visible in living form, a chorus of beings moving to its song. For humans, too, light shapes emotion and health. Long days of sunshine lift the spirit, while dark winters can weigh heavily on the heart. Morning light signals the body to awaken, evening light guides it to rest. Our moods, our dreams, our very awareness are tuned to the threads of light. In this way, light is not only a physical force but an intimate companion. It touches our skin, shapes our hormones, colors our thoughts. It is as much within us as it is around us. Consider, too, the inventions of humanity that borrow light's power. Fire was the first, a harnessing of brightness and warmth that transformed our way of life. Later came lamps, candles, and torches, carrying light into the night. Today we bend light into lasers, fiber optics, and satellites, sending messages across the globe and beyond. Every screen you read, every bulb that glows, every photograph that captures a moment, all are human attempts to work with the threads of light. We are not only recipients of light, but co-creators with it, weaving it into tools, art, and meaning. And yet, even with all our understanding, light remains mysterious. It reveals everything, but itself resists full capture. It behaves like a wave, but also like a particle. It travels faster than anything else, but slows in glass or water, bending gently as it passes. It is the painter of the visible world, yet most of its spectrum remains invisible to us. Perhaps this is why light inspires both science and poetry. It is at once a force and a metaphor, a law and a mystery, a thread that binds knowledge and wonder together. In the quiet of evening, when the sun sets and the sky deepens, the threads of light soften into dusk. The day's brightness fades, but not into nothingness. Instead, it changes, becoming the glow of twilight, the silver of moonlight, the shimmer of starlight. Even in darkness, light remains, gentler, quieter, but still present. The world never loses it completely. The threads of light may dim, but they do not vanish. They continue to whisper softly, patiently, reminding us that illumination is never far away. The threads of light guide us toward a gentle conclusion, not by fading, but by revealing how deeply they are woven into everything we know. To live is to be illuminated, to be touched and sustained by the constant movement of photons. Light does not only pass through space, it passes through us, entering our eyes, our skin, our breath, shaping our rhythms and our sense of belonging. It is both messenger and companion, both source and reminder, whispering that we are never alone in the vastness of the universe. Even in silence, even in stillness, light is present, reaching, connecting, continuing its journey. Think of the way light binds us to time. Morning arrives not simply because the clock turns, but because the sun's glow stretches across the horizon. Afternoon warms with golden radiance, and evening falls with the dimming of the sky. Even sleep is guided by light, for when it fades, the body rests, and when it returns, the body awakens. Every cycle of day and night is a dialogue between the earth and the sun, written in beams of light. This rhythm is more than convenience, it is the steady beat of existence. Without it, time would lose its shape, and life would drift unmoored. The threads of light are the silent hands that turn the wheel of days. Light also teaches us that beauty is born from interaction. Alone, it is invisible, a stream of photons without form. But when it touches matter, when it bends through water, reflects off stone, or scatters in air, it becomes color, pattern, image. A sunset glows red because molecules scatter shorter wavelengths, allowing longer ones to dominate. A diamond sparkles because its crystal structure splits and refracts photons into brilliance. Even the blue of the sky is not the sky itself, but light dancing with air. The beauty of the world is light made visible through its meeting with matter. Without these encounters, there would be no color, no form, no wonder. Light is proof that beauty is not a possession, but a relationship. Now let us wander into the night, where light reveals its other face. The stars above are not just points in darkness, they are histories arriving late. Each star's glow is a letter written long ago, carried across unimaginable distances, still legible when it reaches your eyes. To look upward is to read the universe's diary written in light. Some stars you see tonight no longer exist, their fire extinguished, but their light continues, reminding us that endings are never sudden in the language of photons. The threads of light stretch across time, ensuring that even in absence, presence lingers, that even in distance, connection holds. Light also finds its way into the deepest shadows. In caves, bioluminescent fungi glow softly, creating their own lanterns in the dark. In the ocean's depths, creatures paint the water with sparks of blue and green, signaling to one another in the language of radiance. Even in the human heart, we find metaphors of light in darkness, the flicker of hope, the glimmer of kindness, the flame of love. Light persists not only in physics, but in meaning, a thread that weaves itself into both nature and thought. Where there is life, there is some form of light, visible or invisible, physical or symbolic, always finding a way to shine. The science of light reveals its generosity. It brings energy across space without wires or carriers, touching the earth with warmth that sustains ecosystems. It fuels the chemistry of plants, builds the foundation of food chains, and in turn supports animals and humans. It creates the conditions for weather, for rivers, for fertile soil. Without light, the earth would be a silent stone, drifting cold and lifeless. With it, the planet sings with forests, oceans, creatures, and people. Light is the difference between barren rock and living world, between emptiness and abundance. The threads of light are the lifelines of earth, flowing from sun to soil, from leaf to breath, from fire to thought. Even in technology, we follow these threads. Fiber optic cables carry light beneath oceans, sending voices and images across continents. Lasers perform delicate surgery, write data onto disks, measure distances with precision. Telescopes collect faint light from distant galaxies, revealing structures billions of years old. Microscopes use light to reveal the hidden architecture of cells, showing us the invisible dance of life. Everywhere we use light not only as a source of life, but as a tool of discovery, a bridge between the unknown and the known. Light is both the subject of our questions and the means by which we answer them. But perhaps the most profound gift of light is its constancy. Unlike many things in the universe, the speed of light never changes. No matter where you are, no matter how you move, light races at the same speed, a constant against which the universe measures itself. Time and space themselves bend around it, for light is the foundation of relativity, the anchor of cosmic law. It is the universe's way of ensuring that even in a sea of change, something endures. The threads of light are the threads of order, weaving consistency into chaos, stability into flux, harmony into motion. In human life, too, light marks both beginnings and endings. Birth is welcomed with bright rooms and candles, symbols of new life. Death is honored with lamps and flames, symbols of remembrance. Festivals are filled with lanterns, torches, and fireworks, bursts of light that celebrate community and hope. In every culture, across every age, light has been the chosen language of meaning. It comforts, inspires, and unites. It is the simplest symbol, and yet the most universal. Light is not just photons. It is the story we tell ourselves about presence, connection, and continuity. And so, as we complete this story, we return to the quiet truth. Light does not end. Even when a flame dies, its photons continue outward. Even when the sun will one day fade, its light will still travel, carrying echoes of its fire. Even when we close our eyes, light remains around us, waiting for us to return. The threads of light weave eternity into every moment. They ensure that nothing is ever fully lost, that every instant shines beyond itself, that memory and presence are always connected. Close your eyes now and imagine the soft glow of light upon your skin. It is gentle, patient, eternal. It is the warmth of the sun, the silver of the moon, the whisper of the stars. It has traveled far, but it has found you here in this moment to remind you that you are part of something vast and luminous. The threads of light will continue long after this breath, this day, this life. They will weave on, carrying stories into new dawns, new skies, new beings. And in that continuity lies peace, the quiet assurance that the universe will always shine, that the threads of light will never unravel, that in some way you will always glow within them. The earth breathes, though not in the way lungs do. Its breath is vast, stretching across oceans, forests, mountains, and skies. Every breeze that brushes your skin, every tide that rises and falls, every cloud that drifts overhead is part of the planet's slow, steady inhalation and exhalation. This is the breath of the earth, the endless cycle of energy moving through air, water, and soil. It is not hurried, not forced, but gentle and patient, unfolding over days and seasons, shaping the rhythms of life that depend upon it. To notice this breath is to feel a kinship with the planet, to recognize that we are part of a larger respiration that never stops. Imagine standing in a forest at dawn. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and leaves. All around you, trees are exchanging gases with the sky. Through photosynthesis, they draw in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, filling the air with the very breath you depend upon. With each exhale, you release carbon dioxide, and with each inhale, the trees return oxygen. It is a dialogue so constant and so complete that we rarely notice it, yet it ties us to the forest in the most intimate way. Every breath you take is shared with leaves, with moss, with grass, with unseen roots drinking deep below. The breath of the earth is also your breath, a cycle of giving and receiving that has no end. This breath extends far beyond the forest. Across the oceans, microscopic organisms called phytoplankton float near the surface, catching sunlight and producing oxygen through the same ancient process. Though they are invisible to the eye, these tiny beings create much of the oxygen on Earth, sustaining countless creatures on land and sea. When you inhale, part of what fills your lungs once came from these drifting plants, born of light and water. In this way, the ocean exhales into your body, and you return your exhale to the air, where winds carry it back across waves. The breath of the earth connects forests to seas, mountains to plains, creatures to one another. It is a breath so wide that it circles the entire planet. The winds themselves are another form of this planetary respiration. Heated by sunlight, air rises and cooler currents rush to replace it. These movements create breezes and gales, storms and gentle sighs. When you feel the wind on your face, you are feeling the pulse of the planet's breath. It is the exhalation of warm surfaces, the inhalation of cool seas, the sigh of valleys and ridges. Winds carry seeds across continents, pollens across fields, moisture across deserts. They move heat from the tropics to the poles, balancing extremes, softening the edges of climate. The earth breathes in great gusts and quiet whispers, each one shaping the world you know. Water, too, is part of this grand respiration. The sun warms the ocean, lifting vapor into the sky where it gathers into clouds. Those clouds drift across the land, release rain, and return water to rivers, lakes, and soil. From there it seeps back to the sea, and the cycle begins again. This is the hydrologic breath of the planet, the endless exhalation of vapor, the inhalation of rain. Each drop of water you drink has traveled this cycle countless times, once part of clouds, once part of glaciers, once part of ancient seas. The breath of the earth is written in water, flowing endlessly, giving life to every corner of the planet. Even the soil breathes. Beneath your feet, microorganisms work tirelessly, breaking down organic matter, releasing carbon dioxide and enriching the ground. Worms, fungi, and bacteria move unseen, shaping the fertility of the land. Their exhalations mingle with your own, joining the shared atmosphere of the planet. In return, plants inhale their carbon and offer oxygen once more. Soil may appear silent, but it is alive with respiration, a hidden rhythm that nourishes the world above. Each blade of grass, each flower in bloom, is a result of this unseen breath, a reminder that even the ground beneath you participates in the earth's respiration. The breath of the earth is also expressed in seasons. In spring, the planet inhales deeply, plants sprouting, leaves unfurling, oxygen flooding the air. In autumn, the planet exhales, leaves falling, plants returning nutrients to soil, preparing for the stillness of winter. These shifts are not random but cyclical, a steady breathing pattern across time. Cultures have long celebrated these rhythms with festivals of planting and harvest, acknowledging the breath that sustains them. To live in harmony with the seasons is to live in harmony with the planet's respiration, to align your own life with the inhale and exhale of the earth. Consider the polar ice gleaming white beneath the sun. Within its frozen layers are tiny bubbles of air trapped for thousands of years. Scientists who study ice cores read these bubbles as records of the Earth's ancient breath preserved across millennia. Each layer reveals the gases that filled the atmosphere at that time, telling stories of volcanic eruptions, forest growth, and shifts in climate. The planet's breath is not only present but archived in ice, offering a library of whispers from the past. To study them is to listen to the Earth's long inhalations and exhalations, to hear the quiet history of its respiration. Mountains, too, play their role in this breath. Rising high into the atmosphere, they influence the flow of air and the patterns of clouds. Moist air ascends their slopes, cools, and releases rain. Dry air descends on the other side, shaping deserts and grasslands. The rhythm of mountain winds becomes part of the larger breathing of continents, their presence guiding the flow of life across regions. When you stand upon a mountain peak and feel the wind rushing past, you are standing in the path of the Earth's inhale and exhale, carried upward and downward, part of a rhythm much greater than your own. This breath is patient, stretching across scales of time we cannot easily imagine. Forests inhale and exhale over seasons, oceans over centuries, ice over millennia, and the atmosphere itself over eons. Each breath influences the next, shaping climates, guiding evolution, determining which species thrive and which fade away. The breath of the earth is not simply background, it is the foundation of life itself. To recognize it is to realize that survival is not individual but shared. Every creature, every tree, every drop of water is part of the same respiration, dependent on one another in ways too intricate to fully see. And yet, for all its vastness, this breath is intimate. Each time you breathe, you join the earth in its rhythm. You draw in what plants and oceans have given, and you return what they need. In this way, your lungs are not separate from the planet, but extensions of it. You are not breathing alone, you are breathing with the earth, part of its slow, steady exhalation and inhalation. To notice this is to feel less isolated, more connected, more at home. The breath of the earth is also the breath of you, reminding you that life is never solitary, that we are all participants in the same quiet song. The breath of the earth is more than air moving across forests and seas. It is a vast network of exchanges that ties together all living and non-living things. Each exhalation of the planet becomes nourishment for something else, each inhalation a renewal of cycles that have persisted for millions of years. When we pause long enough to notice it, we begin to feel the earth as a living being, not with lungs or veins, but with oceans, forests and skies as its organs, working in harmony to maintain balance. This awareness turns the world from scenery into kinship, from landscape into relationship. To live here is not only to walk upon the earth, but to breathe with it. Think of the rainforests, often called the lungs of the planet. Each tree reaches upward, opening its leaves to the sky, capturing sunlight and transforming it into energy. In this process, oxygen is released, flowing outward in invisible rivers that sustain life far beyond the forest itself. At night, the balance shifts. Trees take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide, joining the quiet respiration of the creatures around them. This cycle is not confined to one place but stretches across continents. The air you breathe in a city may have been exhaled by a tree in the Amazon, or by moss in a northern forest, or by seagrass drifting in the tide. The Earth's breath does not know boundaries. It moves freely, reminding us that atmosphere belongs to no one and sustains everyone. Winds carry this breath across deserts and mountains, knitting together climates in subtle ways. Dust from the Sahara travels across the Atlantic, carrying nutrients that feed the Amazon rainforest. Ash from distant volcanoes drifts into skies, influencing weather patterns continents away. Even the faintest whisper of air can ripple outward, affecting places far from its origin. In this way, the breath of the earth acts as a messenger, carrying stories of one region into another, binding together places that may never meet. Every gust of wind, every cloud, every change in the air is part of this endless dialogue between the parts of the planet. Water breathes too, though not in the way we usually imagine. Evaporation is an exhalation, lifting vapor from seas, rivers, and lakes into the sky. Rainfall is an inhalation, returning water to the land, replenishing rivers, feeding soils, filling roots. This water breath shapes not only landscapes but the lives within them. Salmon follow streams back to their birthplace, guided by cycles of rainfall and snowmelt. Birds migrate along routes determined by winds and rains. Farmers sow seeds in rhythm with seasonal showers. To breathe with the earth is to live in harmony with these patterns, to recognize that the same water that once fell as rain upon ancient forests now flows in your veins as blood. The soil itself is an unseen lung, alive with respiration. Beneath the surface, roots exchange gases with tiny organisms, carbon dioxide released, oxygen absorbed, and nitrogen cycled through endless transformations. A teaspoon of soil contains more living beings than there are people on Earth, each one part of the underground breath that sustains plants above. Mycorrhizal fungi extend delicate threads between roots, passing nutrients, sharing signals, carrying life across the dark. This hidden breath shapes the fertility of the land, the growth of crops, the abundance of ecosystems. Though silent and invisible, it is as vital as the winds above, as constant as the tides. Glaciers and ice caps also join the planet's respiration, though their breath is slow and measured. As they melt, they release water into oceans, raising tides, feeding rivers, shifting climates. As they grow, they store water as frozen breath, holding it for centuries until warmth returns. These cycles are measured in ages rather than moments, yet they are no less alive. The ice exhales into rivers that carve valleys, into seas that carry ships, into rains that feed fields. Its breath is slow, but it reminds us that the planet breathes not only in hours and days, but in centuries and millennia. To notice the Earth's breath is to stretch your sense of time until it includes both the quick pulse of wind and the slow sigh of glaciers. Even fire is part of this respiration. Forests burn, releasing carbon stored in wood back into the atmosphere. Ash falls, enriching soil, preparing it for new growth. Seeds crack open in the heat, beginning life anew in the aftermath of flame. Though fire appears destructive, it is also renewal, a fierce exhale that clears the way for future inhales. For countless ecosystems, fire is not an intruder but a partner in their breathing. Grasslands flourish after burns, forests regrow with fresh vigor. The breath of the earth is not always soft. It sometimes arrives in heat and flame in order to keep the rhythm alive. The oceans, covering most of the planet, are the deepest lungs of all. Currents move like great streams of breath, carrying warmth from the equator to the poles, balancing climates, shaping weather. Waves crash, stirring air into foam, exchanging gases between sea and sky. Deep below, cold waters rise, bringing nutrients to the surface, feeding plankton that exhale oxygen into the air. Each tide, each current, each swell is part of the ocean's respiration, a vast exhale and inhale that sustains life across the planet. When you stand on a shore and listen to WAV, you are listening to the breath of the earth itself, rolling in and out, ceaseless and eternal. This breath also flows through cycles of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, moving between atmosphere, land, water, and life. Plants capture carbon from the air, animals release it back through respiration, oceans absorb and release it across centuries. Nitrogen shifts between forms, feeding crops, drifting in winds, returning to soil. Oxygen cycles endlessly between breath and photosynthesis, between lungs and leaves. These chemical dances are not separate but woven into one continuous respiration, a planetary metabolism that never rests. The earth inhales and exhales through chemistry as much as through air and water, each element part of the same great cycle. To recognize this is to feel a deep connection with the planet. Every breath you take is not an isolated act but part of the earth's wider breathing. The air in your lungs once moved through the leaves of ancient forests, once drifted across oceans, once rose from volcanoes, once froze in glaciers. The carbon in your body once belonged to stars, then to soil, then to plants, then to creatures long gone. You are not only breathing with the earth, you are breathing its history, inhaling its memory, exhaling its future. The breath of the earth is not outside of you but within you, moving through your body with every inhale and exhale, binding you to everything that has ever lived. And so the breath of the earth continues, vast and unbroken. It flows through forests and seas, through soil and skies, through ice and flame. It is gentle in a breeze, powerful in a storm, patient in a glacier, swift in a fire. It is the rhythm of life, the pulse of the planet, the quiet assurance that nothing is separate, nothing stands alone. To pause and notice it is to find peace, to feel at home in the great respiration that has carried life for millions of years. The earth breathes, and through it so do you. Its exhale is your inhale, its inhale your exhale. The planet's breath is your own, and together you share in the endless cycle that never stops. The breath of the earth is not a single sound or motion, but a harmony of many voices, each playing its part in a symphony that began long before humanity and will continue long after. To bring this story toward a gentle close, we can follow these voices one by one, listening as they weave together into a single, endless respiration. Each current of air, each drop of rain, each shifting season is part of this rhythm. It is not hurried, not loud, but patient and eternal. The planet breathes, and in that breath, everything finds its place. Consider once more the forests. In spring, they inhale deeply, leaves unfurling, pulling carbon dioxide into their green veins. In summer, their exhalation fills the air with oxygen, saturating the atmosphere with the gift of life. In autumn, they exhale in another way, releasing leaves to the ground, returning nutrients to the soil. In winter, they rest, their breath slow and measured, conserving energy for the next inhale. The cycle continues, season after season, age after age, without interruption. To walk in a forest is to step into the lungs of the earth, to feel the quiet pulse of its respiration pressing against your skin, mingling with your own. The oceans breathe more slowly, their cycles measured in tides and currents, in centuries and millennia. Waves exhale foam and mist, carrying the sea into the air. Winds carry that exhalation across continents, returning it as rain, as snow, as rivers flowing back to the sea. Deep currents rise, cold and nutrient-rich, to the surface, where plankton inhale sunlight and exhale oxygen, fueling the base of life's pyramid. Without this slow, deep breathing, the balance of climate would falter, the abundance of life would wane. To stand at the shore is to witness the Earth's inhale and exhale with every crashing wave, a rhythm as steady as your own pulse. Glaciers and ice fields join with their own slow sighs, expanding and retreating across ages. When they grow, they inhale, pulling water from the seas into frozen stillness. When they melt, they exhale, sending water back into rivers and ocean, shaping coastlines and climates. Though their movements are glacial, they are no less alive. Their breath is written in the rising and falling of tides, in the carving of valleys, in the history preserved within layers of ice. To see a glacier is to see the earth in slow motion, to hear its breath stretched across millennia, patient and profound. Volcanoes, too, are part of this respiration, though their breath is fiery and fierce. When magma surges upward, when ash fills the sky, the earth exhales in a dramatic burst. Yet even this seeming destruction is part of the cycle. Volcanic ash enriches soil, creating fertile lands. Gases released into the air shape the composition of the atmosphere. New landforms rise from the ocean, fresh surfaces for life. To take root, the earth does not breathe only in whispers. Sometimes it breathes in roars, reminding us that creation and renewal often come through force as well as gentleness. The breath of the earth is also carried by creatures, each one adding its own rhythm. Whales rise to the surface, exhaling mist into the air, their breath mingling with the sky before they dive again. Birds beat their wings, carrying air currents across landscapes. Insects hover, their tiny movements stirring the atmosphere. Humans, too, breathe in and out, billions of lungs rising and falling together, each one part of the same global respiration. Life itself is inseparable from the breath of the planet. Every inhale and exhale is a reminder that we are not apart from the Earth's rhythms, but participants in them, as dependent upon them as forests or seas. This planetary respiration also shapes our sense of time. Dawn feels like an inhale, as light and warmth spread across the land. Noon is the full exhalation, when energy peaks and life is most active. Evening is another inhale, shadows lengthening, coolness returning. Night is the exhale into rest, into quiet, into the preparation for another breath. Even the cycle of day and night is the breath of the earth in motion, tied to its turning, its tilt, its relationship with the sun. To live with awareness of this rhythm is to live with a sense of belonging, to feel that you are not moving alone, but with the pulse of the planet itself. The cycles of breath extend into patterns we cannot directly feel, but that guide our existence nonetheless. The carbon cycle moves carbon through atmosphere, plants, animals, and oceans, a breath that lasts thousands of years in its full loop. The nitrogen cycle feeds plants, returns to soil, moves into air, another form of respiration that sustains food and life. Even tectonic plates, shifting beneath the surface, act as a slow exhalation and inhalation of the planet, recycling crust into mantle and mantle into crust. These hidden breaths are no less real, no less essential. They remind us that the Earth's respiration is layered, working at many scales at once, from seconds to millennia, from lungs to continents. To recognize this breath is also to recognize fragility. Just as a body depends on steady lungs, the planet depends on balance in its cycles. Forests must continue to exhale oxygen, oceans must continue to absorb and release carbon, winds must continue to circulate warmth and coolness. When these rhythms falter, climates shift, ecosystems strain, and life feels the tremors. The breath of the earth is resilient, but it is not unbreakable. It depends upon harmony, upon respect for the cycles that sustain us. To care for the planet is not an act of generosity, but of self-preservation, for without its breath, we too cannot breathe. Yet even in fragility, there is continuity. The planet has breathed through ice ages and warm periods, through extinctions and renewals, through silence and song. Life adapts, shifts, transforms, but the breath of the earth continues. It may change in tempo, may alter in balance, but it does not cease. The planet's exhalation into storms and forests, its inhalation into oceans and skies, carries on regardless of human presence. To see this is to find humility, to understand that we are small participants in a vast rhythm, but participants nonetheless, our every breath woven into the same cycle as forests, oceans, and winds. And so we return to ourselves, to the lungs within our chests. Each inhale you take is not yours alone, but part of the Earth's wider breath. Each exhale you release is carried into the shared atmosphere, mingling with the breaths of countless beings. The air within you now will one day move into trees, into rivers, into glaciers, into the sky. You are not separate. You are part of the inhale and exhale of the planet, a brief but beautiful moment in its long respiration. To notice this is to feel not just alive but connected, not just present but eternal, because the breath of the earth does not end when yours does. It continues, carrying fragments of you forward, woven into the shared breath of all things. Close your eyes and imagine it now. The slow inhale of forests, the deep exhale of oceans, the whisper of winds, the sigh of glaciers, the roar of volcanoes. All of it is one breath, patient and unending, carrying life forward, sustaining what is and preparing what will be. This is the breath of the earth, and it is also your breath, a reminder that nothing breathes alone, that everything is joined in the same eternal respiration. To rest in this truth is to find peace, to feel at home in the quiet assurance that the earth breathes always, and through it, so do you. Time is not a clock on the wall or a calendar upon a page. Time is an echo, carried forward by the endless motion of energy that never fades. Every moment you live is the result of countless transformations, of light into warmth. Of matter into movement, of memory into thought. These transformations do not end when the moment passes. They ripple forward, carried into new forms, whispered into new beginnings. To listen for the echo of time is to notice how nothing is ever lost, how every second leaves behind a gentle vibration that shapes what comes next. Time, in its truest form, is not measured in hours or days, but in the way energy endures, in the way it continues even after forms dissolve. Imagine standing in a canyon where your voice bounces back to you. The echo you hear is not the sound itself, but its continuation, its reflection through air and stone. In the same way, time is not only the present moment, but the continuation of everything that came before, reflected into the now. The heartbeat you feel is not just this instant. It carries the rhythm of every meal you ate, every breath you took, every ancestor who passed energy into you. The present is layered with echoes, filled with voices of the past, carried forward through the eternal transformation of energy. To live is to be surrounded by echoes, whether you notice them or not. The echo of time is written into the stars. Look upward at the night sky and you are gazing into the past. Light from distant galaxies began its journey millions or even billions of years ago, only now arriving to touch your eyes. Some of those galaxies may no longer shine as they once did, yet their light continues, their echo reaching across space. Each star is a storyteller, its beams carrying tales of ancient fires, of the universe as it once was. To see starlight is to see history alive, proof that time does not vanish but continues to echo forward, patient and unbroken. The night sky is not only beauty but memory stretched across the heavens. The earth itself holds echoes of time in its stones and soils. Layers of rock reveal ancient seas, shifting continents and forgotten forests. Fossils preserve the shape of beings that once breathed, their forms carrying forward the energy of lives long past. Even the air we breathe holds traces of older worlds, molecules of carbon and oxygen that have cycled through countless generations of plants and creatures. When you inhale, you are inhaling fragments of history, echoes of breaths that rose from oceans millions of years ago. Time does not erase, it transforms, carrying whispers of the past into every living moment. In your own body, the echo of time is always present. The atoms that form you are not new, they are ancient, forged in the fires of stars that died long before the earth was born. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your cells all carry echoes of cosmic origins. Each step you take is not only yours, but the continuation of movements that began billions of years ago. You are not separate from the past. You are its vessel, its expression, its echo made flesh. To recognize this is to see yourself not as a fleeting moment, but as part of a continuum, a wave in the endless sea of time. Memory is another form of time's echo. When you recall a moment, you are not reliving it exactly, but carrying its vibration into the present. Memories shift and change, yet they remain echoes, traces of experience that continue to shape your life. They are stored in the patterns of your brain, in the delicate dance of atoms and electrons. Each memory is energy that has not vanished but taken on a new form, influencing your choices, your emotions, your sense of self. Even forgotten memories leave their mark, subtle echoes woven into who you are today. The echo of time is not only in the grand sweep of stars and galaxies, but in the quiet architecture of your own mind. The seasons themselves are echoes, repeating cycles that carry the memory of the planet's motion. Spring is not new, it is the echo of countless springs before it, each one a reflection of the Earth's orbit, its tilt, its journey around the sun. Autumn is an echo too, carrying the rhythm of falling leaves, of harvests gathered across centuries. Even the smallest daily rituals, sunrise, sunset, the phases of the moon, are echoes, gentle reminders that time is not linear but cyclical, always returning, always carrying the past into the present. The echo of time ensures that nothing truly disappears. It returns in new shapes, new patterns, new seasons. Even sound itself carries the lesson of time's echo. When you speak, your voice moves through air, vibrating molecules that pass the sound onward. The sound does not vanish when your lips fall silent. It travels, fading gradually, lingering in vibrations that extend beyond your hearing. In the same way, every action you take, every word you say, ripples forward, affecting others, shaping futures in ways you may never see. Time's echo is not abstract. It is tangible, written into every cause and effect, every chain of influence that binds us to one another. What you do today becomes tomorrow's memory, tomorrow's consequence. Tomorrow's echo. Physics too teaches us of time's persistence. Energy cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. Motion becomes heat, heat becomes light, light becomes chemical bonds become life. At every step, the energy remains, transformed but never lost. This is the law of conservation, but it is also the poetry of echoes. Time is not a straight line that ends in nothingness, but a series of transformations, each one carrying the resonance of what came before. The echo of time is energy's refusal to fade, its promise to endure even when forms dissolve. The echo of time is felt in love as well. A smile given to a stranger may ripple outward, affecting them in ways you will never know. A word spoken with kindness may echo in another's memory for years, shaping their choices, their sense of worth, their path in life. Even after you are gone, the echoes of your actions remain, carried forward in the lives you touched, the memories you left, the atoms you returned to the earth. Nothing is lost. Everything continues in ripples, in vibrations, in echoes that stretch beyond sight. To love is to create echoes, to send forth vibrations that will carry far beyond your own time. And so the echo of time surrounds us in stars and stones, in breaths and memories, in seasons and songs. It is not something to fear, but something to rest within, for it reminds us that nothing is wasted, nothing is erased. The past is not gone, it is here, alive in echoes that shape the present. The future is not empty, it will be filled with the echoes we create today. To notice this is to feel less hurried, less burdened, more at peace. Time does not flee, it reverberates. It is not a river rushing away, but an ocean where every wave carries the memory of the one before. Close your eyes and listen. Beneath the silence there is a hum, a vibration, a resonance. That is the echo of time moving through you, around you, beyond you. It is the whisper of ancient stars, the murmur of forgotten forests, the quiet rhythm of your own heart. It is patient, eternal, unending. The echo of time is here, now in this breath, in this moment, carrying forward everything that ever was and promising that nothing is ever truly gone. The echo of time is not only written in stars and stones, but also in the smallest motions that ripple quietly through existence. Each step you take, each breath you release, each word you speak becomes part of this resonance. The present is never isolated. It is stitched together by countless pasts, each one leaving its impression upon the now. If you listen deeply, you can sense that nothing you do truly disappears. Even the smallest action lingers, carried forward in ways both subtle and vast, echoing beyond your awareness, shaping futures you may never see. Consider the way rivers shape valleys. Over thousands of years, a flowing stream carves through stone, creating canyons and gorges that seem eternal. Each drop of water is soft and fleeting, but together they echo across time, leaving behind landscapes that endure for ages. The river does not think of shaping mountains, it simply flows. Yet its echo becomes stone walls and winding paths, proof that small moments repeated endlessly can create lasting transformations. In the same way, every small act in your life, every kindness, every decision, becomes part of time's echo, slowly shaping the world around you in ways you may never recognize. The echo of time is also present in the growth of forests. A single seed falls into soil, perhaps carried by the wind or dropped by a bird. It begins as something small and fragile, yet over decades it grows into a towering tree, casting shade, sheltering birds, releasing oxygen. Long after the tree itself has fallen, its descendants continue to grow, nourished by the soil enriched with its remains. Each seed, each tree, each forest is an echo of the lives that came before, carrying forward the energy of sunlight, water, and soil. To walk in a forest is to walk within time's echoes, each leaf and branch a whisper of cycles that stretch far beyond memory. Even your body carries echoes of time in its design. The structure of your spine, the shape of your hands, the rhythm of your heartbeat, all are products of millions of years of evolution, shaped by countless ancestors who lived, struggled, and passed on their traits. The way you move, the way you see, the way you breathe are not simply yours. They are echoes of beings long gone, carried into the present by the persistence of life. You are not a single point in time, but a convergence of echoes, a living archive of survival and adaptation. Every gesture you make is layered with history, every glance a continuation of ancient instincts. Language itself is another echo of time. The words you speak today carry traces of older tongues, fragments of sounds and meanings passed from generation to generation. Each sentence you form is not only your own, but also the product of countless voices that came before. The way you describe the world, the way you share your thoughts, the way you shape stories are all echoes of ancestors who once struggled to put sound to feeling, to name what they saw. Even silence carries the memory of words unsaid, of meanings that linger between breaths. The echo of time is not only physical, it is also woven into culture, into communication, into the way we connect across ages. The Earth's atmosphere is itself an archive of echoes. Tiny molecules of gases hold the memory of volcanic eruptions, of ancient forests, of seas that flourished long ago. Air bubbles trapped in ice preserve the breath of times long past, telling stories of climates, extinctions, and renewals. To study these records is to listen to the whispers of ages, to hear the planet's long inhalations and exhalations. The air you breathe today is not new. It has been inhaled and exhaled by countless beings before you. Each breath is an echo, a continuation of a cycle so vast it cannot be measured by lifetimes, but only by ages. To breathe is to participate in memory, to join in the chorus of time's endless song. The echo of time is also etched into sound. When a bell rings, its tone fades gradually, lingering in the air long after the strike. That fading resonance is a reminder that no moment ends abruptly. It carries forward, softer but still present, until it dissolves into silence. Even then, silence is not emptiness but space where echoes rest, waiting to shape what comes next. Every sound, every vibration, every word is a demonstration of this truth. Nothing ends immediately, everything continues, everything echoes. The universe itself is like a great bell, struck once at its beginning, still ringing softly through space and time. The cycles of day and night are echoes too, repeating endlessly yet never exactly the same. Each dawn carries the memory of all dawns before it, each sunset the memory of all that came before. The sun rises and sets not as a new event, but as the continuation of an ancient rhythm, an echo of the planet's turning that began long before humans existed and will continue long after. The moon waxes and wanes, its phases repeating yet unique each time, echoing across months and years. These cycles remind us that time is not a straight line, but a spiral, each moment carrying echoes of what came before while preparing the way for what is to come. The echo of time is not confined to the physical world, it lives in emotion as well. The joy you feel at a song, the sorrow you feel at a memory, the comfort you find in a familiar place are not isolated sensations, but echoes of earlier experiences. Music itself is built upon echoes, melodies repeating, rhythms returning, harmonies layering one upon another. A song resonates not only because of its notes, but because of the memories it awakens, the echoes it stirs within you. Emotion is time's echo in the heart, proof that the past is never gone but alive within you, shaping how you feel the present. In science, echoes of time appear even in the fabric of the universe. The cosmic microwave background, faint radiation spread across the sky, is the lingering echo of the Big Bang, the afterglow of creation itself. It is a soft hum, a faint whisper of the universe's birth, still present billions of years later. To observe it is to hear the oldest echo of all, proof that the beginning has never ended, that it continues to reverberate across time and space. The universe itself is an echo, a resonance still unfolding, carrying forward the energy of its first moment into every star, every planet, every breath. Even love carries echoes across generations. The care of a parent shapes a child, who carries that influence into their own relationships, passing it forward again and again. Acts of kindness ripple outward, touching lives far removed from their origin. Even after someone is gone, their presence lingers in stories, in memories, in the habits and values they left behind. Love does not vanish, it transforms, becoming part of the lives that follow. Each embrace, each word of comfort, each act of generosity is an echo, extending beyond its moment, woven into the long fabric of time. And so the echo of time surrounds us, shaping landscapes, bodies, cultures, and hearts. It is not loud, not insistent, but patient and steady, like ripples spreading outward across a still pond. Every action, every breath, every heartbeat is part of this resonance, contributing to the unending chorus of existence. To live with awareness of it is to move more gently, to recognize that nothing is wasted, nothing is lost. Everything continues, in forms visible and invisible, in echoes that stretch far beyond our sight. The echo of time is the quiet promise that you are part of something vast. You are not a single note played once and forgotten. You are part of a symphony, your sound carried forward into other lives, other moments, other forms. To feel this is to rest in continuity, to find peace in the knowledge that even when your voice fades, its echo will remain, whispering softly into the future. The echo of time does not fade. It continues, reshaping itself across ages, carrying whispers of what was into what will be. To bring this story to a gentle close, let us walk through the many ways time speaks in echoes, reminding us that nothing ever ends completely. It is not silence that follows a moment, but transformation, not emptiness, but resonance. The universe hums with memory, and every breath, every star, every motion is part of that hum. The echo of time assures us that all things endure, though never in the same shape, never in the same form, but always alive within the ongoing rhythm. Consider the mountains. They rise slowly, lifted by tectonic forces, then wear down under wind and rain. To the human eye, they seem eternal, but in truth they are echoes of deeper processes, of plates shifting beneath the earth, of magma solidifying, of collisions that happened millions of years ago. When a mountain crumbles into soil, when its rocks scatter into rivers and fields, the echo of its time persists. The grains of sand on a beach may once have been part of a towering peak. Even the smallest pebble is a memory, a fragment of time's echo that has not vanished but taken on a gentler form. The same is true of the seas. Oceans hold echoes of ancient rains, of rivers that flowed long ago, of glaciers that melted into their depths. Waves strike shores in a rhythm that has lasted for ages, a sound older than any song, an echo that repeats endlessly. The salt in the ocean carries memory too, minerals washed from stone over countless generations, dissolved and carried outward, returning again in rain and streams. To listen to the sea is to hear the longest echo of water's journey, the ceaseless cycle of movement that has never stopped since the earth was young. Human lives, too, are filled with echoes that outlast their moments. A story told to a child may be repeated to another, and then another, carrying lessons across generations. A tradition practiced in a village may stretch back hundreds of years, its origin forgotten but its rhythm intact. Even architecture holds echoes, an old bridge spanning a river, an ancient temple standing in ruins, a road worn by centuries of feet. These are not just structures, but memories embodied in stone and wood, carrying the resonance of time forward into new ages. Every city, every dwelling is built upon echoes of what came before. The echo of time can also be felt in silence. In a quiet room, you may think nothing lingers, yet the air is filled with subtle vibrations, with heat carried from earlier sunlight, with molecules exhaled from countless breaths before. Even silence is not empty, it holds the aftertones of everything that has passed. The universe itself carries such silence, the background radiation of the Big Bang, the faint hum of creation still echoing across the cosmos. To sit in silence is to sit within a chorus of echoes so soft we no longer notice them, but they remain surrounding us always. Every living being participates in this continuity. When an animal dies, its body returns to the soil, feeding insects, fungi, and plants. Its atoms scatter, entering new forms, its energy released into the air and earth. In this way, no life is ever gone, it echoes forward in other lives, other rhythms. The breath you release may nourish a tree, whose oxygen may sustain another creature. The atoms in your body will one day dance in soil, in rivers, in skies. You are not an end, but a continuation, a resonance that moves forward endlessly. The echo of time ensures that even death is not absence but transformation. In the human heart, echoes often take the shape of memory and love. A song may remind you of a moment long past, its melody carrying you back to an earlier time. A photograph may stir emotions, reviving people and places no longer present. Even scents and textures hold echoes, unlocking memories that seemed forgotten. These experiences are proof that time does not bury but layers, and with the right trigger, echoes rise again, alive in the present. Love itself creates such echoes. Acts of kindness ripple outward, touching lives across distances and generations. The warmth you give today may echo into futures you cannot imagine, carried forward in ways invisible but real. The echo of time also shapes cultures. Languages evolve, but traces of older words remain, their roots echoing across centuries. Songs and stories are passed down, changing slightly but retaining their essence. Myths and rituals may shift in detail, but their underlying rhythms endure. Every culture is a tapestry of echoes, woven from countless pasts, alive in the present moment. When you sing an old song, when you tell a story from your childhood, you are joining in this continuity, adding your voice to the echo that will carry on. Then long after you. Even the universe itself is built upon echoes. The galaxies we see today are shaped by gravity from billions of years ago, their formations echoes of earlier collisions and births of stars. The light that reaches us now is an echo of ancient fire, still traveling, still unfolding. Black holes release echoes too, sending ripples of gravitational waves across space-time, subtle vibrations that speak of cataclysms from distant ages. The entire cosmos is an ocean of echoes, resonating with the memory of its own beginnings. When we consider time as an echo, fear of ending softens. What appears to stop does not truly vanish. A voice ends, but its resonance lingers. A life ends, but its atoms and energy continue. A day ends, but its memory carries forward, shaping the next. Time does not erase, it transforms. Its echoes ensure continuity, weaving all things together into a seamless fabric. To live with this awareness is to feel less separate, less temporary. You are not a fleeting spark, but part of a vast resonance that stretches across ages, across stars, across eternity. Close your eyes now and imagine the echoes surrounding you. The hum of ancient stars, the rhythm of your ancestors' breath, the whisper of forgotten forests, the memory of seas long gone. All of it is here now, alive in the air, in your body, in the world around you. You are not standing at the edge of time, but within its resonance, a participant in its eternal song. The echo of time carries you, connects you, sustains you. And when your voice fades, it too will join the chorus, continuing onward, softly, endlessly, forever part of the resonance that ensures nothing is ever truly lost.